All right, we say shalom, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom once again. Coming at you guys with another live video from Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. That's Solid Foundation Israelite Academy, S.F.I.A. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. Be sure to also check us out on YouTube. Head over to YouTube and simply type in Shabar Israel. That's S-H-A-B-A-R-I-S-R-A-E-L. Shabar Israel. I can be found on YouTube as well as Twitter. Last but not least, Facebook. Check us out. Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. Bringing the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Dealing with the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. According to the biblical prophecies, you are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And that is so-called black people, Hispanic people, Latinos, Native Americans. You are God's chosen people according to the good book, the Holy Bible. Now, what I want to do on today, I'm going to talk about polygamy. All right? So listen up, guys. The topic concerning this lesson is that the Bible never condemns polygamy. All right? The Holy Bible never condemns polygamy. And I'm going to give you book, chapter, and verses to prove this. Okay? So it's not a sin if a particular guy wants to go off and marry more than one woman. I'm going to break it down. That's not sin at all. Okay? So it's not sin if a particular guy chooses to marry more than one woman. It's not sin at all. The Bible never speaks against polygamy. So who created this monogamous paradigm for us to be trapped in? Who created that? The heathen created that. The so-called white man and his government told you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native American men that you are to remain monogamous and that polygamy is off limits. But that's a damn lie, and I'm going to show you in the scriptures. So by the end of this video, I hope you see that the Bible never created one man, one woman doctrine. The Bible never created that. So, without further ado, I'm going to wait till brothers and sisters come into the room and we'll commence with the lesson. This is a live lesson once again. And give it a couple seconds for you guys to come on in and we will take off with the lesson. Peace and much love and respect to you all, brothers and sisters. Hope you be edified on today. I hope you share the message with family and friends. And continue to support me in the ministry, in this movement. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the scriptures. Okay, what I want you to over-enter and understand, what I want you women, listen, what I want you women to over-enter and understand is that men are naturally polygamous by nature. Okay, man is polygamous by nature. Okay, I want you ladies to over-enter and understand that a man is polygamous by nature. I'm going to explain it. If you say not, I'm going to explain. All right. Now, we know sex, S-E-X, sex was only designed for one purpose. What is that purpose? Procreation. This is what sex was designed for. Only one purpose, and that is to procreate. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. That's exactly what sex was created for. It was created and designed for procreation, bringing forth life. Okay? All right? And anything extra that comes along in a relationship, then it's extra. But the main purpose of men and women, the main agenda for men and women was to sexually procreate, to bring forth a clone, or what you say, a replicant. What we know as boy or girl. Eventually, that turns out to be men and women. All right? So, let's deal with the female first in terms of trying to explain to you guys that men are polygamous by nature. I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my ability, that men are polygamous by nature. So let's deal with the female. Now, a female dealing with her reproductive cycle, we already know, dealing with her reproductive cycle, a female basically, you know, she goes on a cycle. She goes on a what you call menstruation. She goes on a monthly cycle. We know that, right? So she goes on a cycle once a month, right? But for a male, it's every day. Now I'm going to explain. So a female basically comes on her cycle once a month. So that's talking about one egg a month. One egg a month versus 120 million sperm cells of a man that he produces every day. Now imagine that. This is why I'm trying to break it down, that men are polygamous by nature. Because you have a woman that has one monthly cycle. She goes on a cycle 1 month. Every month she comes on this cycle. Versus a man that produces 120 million sperm cells each and every day. Okay? So, 30 men, if you round it up, 30 men can impregnate all the women in the world, man. According to the sperm cell he produces each and every day. 30 men can impregnate all the women in the earth, man. So that should tell you right there, man, a natural polygamist. Man is naturally polygamous. Okay? So let's get into the Bible now. The Bible never created this one man, one woman doctrine. I want to start off by just calling out certain biblical characters that had more than one wife in the Bible. Okay, you had Lamech. Let's go to Genesis. Let's look at chapter 4. All right? 4 and 23. And that's in your King James Bible. So in your King James Bible, let's look at Genesis 4 and 23. If you don't have a King James Bible, don't worry about it, guys. If you don't have a King James Bible, grab whatever Bible you can. Genesis 4 and 23. I'm going to show you that this one man, one woman doctrine was not created by the Most High God. Polygamy is natural. So this is Genesis 4 and 23. And this is what it says. All right. We don't have any guys that have entered the room so far, but we'll continue on with the lesson. Genesis 4 and 23. Now listen up, guys. Genesis chapter 4, verse 23. And it reads, and Lamech, or what you call Lamech, however you want to say it, Lamech said unto his wives, plural, Ada and Zillah. So Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. So we can see the first polygamist in scripture. Okay, we see Jessica Matt B is watching. We're glad to have you, my sister. Peace and much love and blessings to you. We can see that Lamech in Genesis 4 and 23, he had 2 wives. It's nothing wrong, man, if you want to have 2 wives. If you want to have 3 wives. If you want to have 4, 5, 6 wives. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is people don't know what's going on in Babylon today. They don't know what's going on in America because they have been brainwashed by the government to believe such things. Okay? So, I don't want any of you speaking against a man that chooses to marry more than one wife. A man that chooses to have more than one woman as his wife. For you monogamous believers, if you believe in monogamy, that's fine. But you shouldn't condemn a brother, or you shouldn't say a brother's in sin, or you shouldn't wish harm on a brother because a brother one particular brother out there may choose to be polygamous. He's standing on the Bible. Because there's nothing wrong to have more than one wife, man. And we're going to show you this. So we can see the first book, chapter and verse in Genesis 4:23. It talks about Lamech. Lamech had 2 wives. Okay. What about Genesis 32:22? What about Genesis 32:22? Let's look at Genesis 32:22. There's nothing wrong with having more than one wife. Genesis 32:22. And you're damn right, I'm looking for another wife. I already got one right now, and I'm looking for another one. I'm looking for at least 2 more. Hebrew woman now. Hebrew Israelite woman that's in the faith. I'm looking for you. If you out there, get at me. I'm looking for you. All right? So now we're going to Genesis 32:22. Genesis 32:22. This is what it says. Genesis chapter 32, verse 22. And he rose up that night and he took his 2 wives. Now who is this talking about? It's talking about Jacob. It's talking about Jacob, man. Right? And he took his 2 wives and his two women servants. So Jacob had 4 women altogether. Jacob had 2 wives, and along with the 2 wives came handmaids. So Genesis 32:22 literally tells you that Jacob had 2 wives, and he also had 2 handmaids that came along with his 2 wives. So in all, Jacob had 4 women, man. Okay? We know that the 12 tribes of Israel, came from 4 different women. Jacob's 2 wives, you can look at this in Genesis chapter, Genesis chapter 29 and 30. Genesis chapters 29 and 30. You can look at Jacob's 2 wives, including his handmaid that came along with them 2 women. Now, Jacob, the first woman that he married was Leah. This is Genesis 29 and 19. Genesis 29 and 19. And Laban, which was Jacob's uncle, because Jacob married his cousins. So in Genesis 29 and 16, I believe I said 19 the first time, but it's actually Genesis 29 and 16. Genesis 29 and 16. It says, and Laban had 2 daughters. Now Laban was Jacob's uncle. Now Laban had 2 daughters. And the name of the oldest was Leah. And the name of the youngest was Rachel. Jacob ends up marrying Leah, and he ends up marrying Rachel. Because marriage is sex. So he had sexual intercourse eventually with Leah, and he also had sexual intercourse with Rachel. And they became his wives, man. But also, when Jacob married Leah and Rachel, 2 handmaids automatically came with them. Okay? And I'm going to show you this. This is Genesis 29 and 21. Genesis 29:21. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I might go into her. Genesis 29:22. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Okay? Genesis 29:23. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went into her. So he had sexual intercourse, because that's marriage. Genesis 29:24. And Laban gave his daughters, and Laban, which was Jacob's uncle, gave into his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. So automatically, when you married a woman, a handmaid came along with that woman. So if you was to marry one particular woman, if you was to have sexual intercourse with one particular woman, automatically a handmaid is supposed to come along with that woman. And that would be a man having 2 women. So when Jacob married Laban's 2 daughters, 2 handmaids automatically came with him, creating altogether 4 women. And Jacob had 12 sons from 4 different women. So the 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you all came from 4 different women, man. So if you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, if you are against polygamy, if you speak against polygamy, if you don't believe in polygamy, you better remember how you was formed as a nation. You better remember how you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans was formed as a nation, the nation of Israel. You better remember how the nation of Israel was formed, because the nation of Israel came through 4 different women. So you had this one man, Jacob, that brought forth 12 sons from 4 different women, and all of them was his wives. Did God condemn that? Hell no. Polygamy is not wrong. All right. Moving on. This is Deuteronomy 21 and 15. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21 and 15. We see Sean Birch is watching. Glad to have you, my brother. Glad for you to be a part of this live lesson on today. I hope all is well with you. I'm trying to show the people that there's nothing wrong with having more than one wife. You want to have more than one wife? According to the scriptures, there's nothing wrong. According to the Bible, there's nothing wrong. Now we're going to Deuteronomy 21 and 15. Deuteronomy 21 and 15. This is what it says in Deuteronomy 21 and 15. If a man has 2 wives. Okay, I apologize. I had an incoming call. I apologize for that. But Deuteronomy 21 and 15. If a man has 2 wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, Deuteronomy 21 and 16, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he had, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which indeed the firstborn. So it tells you basically in Deuteronomy 21 verses 15 and 16. If a man has 2 wives, right? And he loved one particular woman, but he hate other particular woman. And let's say he has a child from the particular woman that he hates. And that child happened to be his firstborn. He ought not to give that child the inheritance. Okay? You see, basically, let me get it right. Deuteronomy 21 and 15. If a man has 2 wives, one beloved and another hated, basically he loved one wife then more than he loved the other. And let's say he had his firstborn from that wife that he hates. Okay? Now, that man is not to get an inheritance to the one he loves. He not just because he is not to give his inheritance to the one he loves. He got to give his inheritance to the firstborn that came from the one he hates. Even though he hates her, he has to give the inheritance to the firstborn of that woman that he begat from the woman he hates. He can't give the inheritance of the firstborn to the woman that he beloved. Okay? But Deuteronomy 21 and 15 tells you a man has 2 wives. There's nothing wrong with that, man. According to the scripture. Let's move on. 2 Samuel 1 and 1. So let's go to 2 Samuel. Well, before we go to 2 Samuel, let's check out 1 Samuel 1 and 1. 1 Samuel 1 and 1. 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 1. All right? And it says in 1 Samuel 1 verse 1. Now there was a certain man, skipping on down back for the sake of time, his name was Elkanah. Now Elkanah was the son of Jeroham, the son of Elohim, and the son of Tehu, the son of Zut, the Ephraimite. Now Elkanah in 1 Samuel 1 verse 2, 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 2, it tells you that Elkanah had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. So there you go again. There go another man in the Bible that had 2 wives. So far, we don't cover Genesis 4:23. Lamech has 2 wives. We covered Genesis 32 and 22 when it was speaking about Jacob had 2 wives. including the handmaids that came along with him. So ultimately, Jacob had 4 wives. Okay. And then now we looked at Deuteronomy 21 and 15. It says if a man has 2 wives, now we in 1 Samuel 1 and 1. And it says Elkanah had 2 wives. Now Elkanah had 2 wives. One name was Hannah, which was Samuel's mother, and the other one name was Peninnah. Now we go into 2 Samuel 2 and 2. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. Hope you guys are tuned in, taking notes, listening. Sean Birch, Jessica Matt B, I see you guys. Now we in 2 Samuel 2, chapter 2, verse 2. Okay, so let's start off with 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, go up. And David said, whither shall I go up? And he said, unto Hebron. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. Listen to this. So David went up there and his 2 wives. See? David started off with 2 wives because David had 8 wives total. But he started off with 2 wives. So in 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2, it clearly tells you that David went up there to Hebron with his 2 wives. You see? So David has 2 wives in the beginning, and ultimately he ends up with 8 wives total. And also 10 concubines. And I'm going to show you this. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Now let's go to we still in 2 Samuel. Let's go to chapter 5. So 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13. I'm going to show you that David also added more women. There's nothing wrong to have more than 1 wife. So 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13. And it reads, and David took him more concubines. What is a concubine? A concubine is a heathen woman from another nation. A concubine is a heathen woman from another nation outside of Israel. Okay, like if you're an Israelite man and you take upon a concubine, that means that that concubine woman is not from the nation of Israel. If you're an Israelite man and you take upon an Israelite woman, that would be your wife. But if you're an Israelite man and you take up a woman outside the nation of Israel, such as a white woman, such as a Japanese woman, Chinese woman, East Indian woman, Arab woman, African woman, if you take a woman outside the nation as Israelite, that woman will be your concubine. And that's what David did. So ultimately David had 8 wives and 10 concubines. Okay? We see Bree is watching. Glad to have you, my sister. Glad for you to tune in and be a part of this lesson. We're talking about polygamy today. So we can clearly see in 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13, it says, David took more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David. So David had sons and daughters from multiple women. It's not nothing wrong with polygamy. David had multiple sons and daughters from various women, man. And not only King David, we already explained how Lamech had 2 wives. We showed you how Jacob had four women total. We showed you how in Deuteronomy 21 and 15, it says if a man has 2 wives. We showed you in 1 Samuel 1 and 1 about Elkanah. Elkanah had 2 wives. Elkanah had Hannah and Peninnah. We showed you in 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. King David started off with wives. Now we in 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13. And it says David took more wives. Okay? Polygamy is not wrong. It's nothing wrong with polygamy. It's nothing wrong with a man having more than 1 wife. The Bible never condemns that. We see Don Grantham Stone is watching. Appreciate to have you, my sister. We see Bree and many others that is watching. So we can clearly see in 2 Samuel 5, 2 Samuel chapter 5, verses, 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13, that David took more wives and concubines. Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. My phone is going dead. I gotta run and get the charger. to charge my phone up. So if you will, bear along with me. Let me go charge my phone up because I don't want to lose this footage. So hold on, if you will, all my followers. Let me go charge my phone up. All right. All right, guys, I'm charging my phone up. I'm putting the phone to the charger right now because I don't want to lose this lesson. Thank you for your patience, guys. But yeah, I'm putting it to the charger right now. All right. All righty. So we see you, Bree. We see you, Sean Birch. We see Jessica Matt B. We see Dawn Grantham Stone. Thank you for your time. So far, we have covered multiple chapters and verses in the Bible that tells you there's nothing wrong with polygamous relations. If you want more than one wife, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, your government has brainwashed you to believe that you are to remain monogamous. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. 1 Chronicles 4, verse 5. So this is 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5. Follow along with, if you will, and take notes. 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5. All right. All right, and here we go. So it says in 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5. And Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had two wives, Hilah and Naarah. So Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had two wives, Hilah and Naarah. See? 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 6. And Naarah bare him basically some sons, and and also Hilah. So the point is, in 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5, we see that Tekoa had two wives. Let's move on. 1 Chronicles 8, verse 8. This is 1 Chronicles chapter 8, verse 8. It says, and Shaharim begat children in the country of Moab after he had sent them away. Hashim and Baara were his wives. So we can see in 1 Chronicles chapter 8, verse 8, that there was a certain guy named Sharahim that begat children. And it says that they had two wives, which was Hashim and Baara was his wives. Right? Let's go to 2 Chronicles. I'm going to show you 2 Chronicles chapter 11. Now we're in 2 Chronicles. Let's go to chapter 11. I'm bringing out all book, chapter, verses to show you there's nothing wrong with polygamy. The government have sold you that lie. Okay? 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 21. So this is 2 Chronicles chapter 11. We're going to begin with the 21st verse. It says, and Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and concubines. So Rehoboam, who was Rehoboam? That was King Solomon's son, which became the first king of. He became the first king over Israel when Israel was a separate nation after the split. So we can see in 2 Chronicles 11, beginning with the 21st verse, and Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and his concubines, for he took 18 wives. So Rehoboam had 18 wives and 80 concubines. How many is a score in the Bible? 80 is 20. So 80 is 60. So Rehoboam had 18 wives and 60 concubines, man. And begat 20. He begat 28 sons and 80 daughters. So he had 18 wives. Rehoboam had 18 wives 60 concubines, women that was from another nation, women that was outside of the nation of Israel. And he also had 28 sons and 60 daughters. Now, who was Rehoboam? Rehoboam basically was King Solomon's son. So we can see right there that, man, it was many men in the scriptures that had more than one wife. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. God never condemned that. Let's continue on. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 13. Now we're going to 2 Chronicles, the 13th chapter, beginning with the 21st verse. So this is 2 Chronicles 13, 21. But Abijah waxed mighty and married 14 wives. So we see there, Abijah had 14 wives and begat 22 sons and 16 daughters. So Abijah had 14 wives. He begat 22 sons and 16 daughters. 2 Chronicles chapter 13 verse 22. And the rest of the acts of Abijah and his ways and his sayings are written in the story of the prophet. So you see right there, man. We don't showed you Genesis 4 and 23. Lamech had 2 wives. Genesis 32, 22. Jacob had 2 wives along with 2 handmaids, which were 4 women total. Deuteronomy 21 and 15. It says if a man has 2 wives. 1 Samuel 1 and 1. Elkanah had 2 wives, which was Hannah and Peninnah. 2 Samuel chapter 2 verse 2. King David started off with 2 wives. And then 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 13. King David took more wives and concubines. Ultimately, King David had 8 wives and 10 concubines. 1 Chronicles 4 and 5, a guy had 2 wives. 1 Chronicles 8 and 8, a guy had 2 wives. 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 21. And now, 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 21, Rehoboam, which was Solomon's son, had 18 wives, 60 concubines, along with 28 sons and 60 daughters. 2 Chronicles 13, 21 is where we at now. Abijah had 14 wives along with how many sons? He had 22 sons and 16 daughters. And that's polygamy for you. God never condemned this. Don Grantham, God never condemned polygamy. Bree, God never condemned polygamy. Sean Birch, God never condemned polygamy. Jessica McBee, polygamy is not wrong. Like I said, I have 1 wife right now, and I'm looking for 2 or 3 more. I at least want to have 3 women total, okay? Hebrew woman that's willing to keep God's laws. I'm not looking for any ratchet-ass woman out there. I'm looking for Hebrew Israelite woman that's willing to be obedient and keep God's laws, that's willing to walk in the ways of the Lord. And if I get my hand on another Hebrew Israelite woman besides my wife, and if it seems fit, I'm gonna take care of my wife, man. Because there's nothing wrong with polygamy. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's continue on, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's look at 2 Chronicles 24. So let's go to the 24th chapter in 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles 24 and 3. 2 Chronicles 24 and 3. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives and begat sons and daughters. So in 2 Chronicles 24 and 3, there go another guy, Jehoiada, that had 2 wives. Why is not God condemning these men? Why is God not condemning these men for having multiple wives? Because it was never a sin. It was never wrong. Whoever told you that bullshit about polygamy is a sin and it's wrong, that's a damn lie according to the scriptures. No, this is what the government have brainwashed you to believe, that you ought to remain with 1 woman and 1 man. Now, on the woman end, a woman can't have more than 1 man. A woman can't have more than 1 man, but a man can have more than 1 woman, long as they are not married. Okay, so You got to understand that, yes, polygamy is exceptional. It's never been condemned. It's not a sin. Just to bring up another few biblical characters, Caleb had multiple wives that entered the promised land. Caleb had multiple wives. All right. Moses had 2 wives. Abraham had 3 wives and 8 children total. Okay. David, Caleb, Moses, Abraham, Jacob, all of them had multiple wives. Bree says, what about a woman having more than one husband? A woman can't have more than one husband. Why is it only fair for men? Okay, a woman can't have more than one husband. Only the men of Israel can have more than one wife. A woman can't have more than one husband. All right, because we talking about marriage. We know that when you marry a certain woman, she becomes what you call your wife, your spouse. Now, what is marriage? Marriage is sexual intercourse. So a woman can't have more than one husband. Why? Because marriage deals with a man taking a woman's virginity. Okay? I'm going to show you something. Let's break this down a little bit more. I'm going to answer that question. That's a good question, Bree. Bree asked, why cannot a woman have more than one man? I'm going to show you exactly why. Let me give you a book, chapter, and verse. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 36. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 36. And 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 36, this is exactly what it reads. It says, but if any man think that he behave himself uncommonly towards his virgin. So a virgin is a woman that never had her virginity taken. A virgin is a young woman that has not been ravished. A virgin is a woman that has not had her hymen popped. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 36, but if any man think that he behave himself uncommonly towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will. He said it not, let them marry. So you can see right there that the reason why a woman can't have more than one woman, because she can only have her hymen pop once. Okay, this is what I'm trying to break down. That's the reason why a woman can't have more than one man, because it takes one man to break her virginity. Once your virginity has been lost to that particular man, you cannot get it back. And that's why a woman are not to take upon multiple men. Because if a woman take upon multiple men, we know that after that first man have popped her virginity, have taken her virginity, pop what you call a cherry, he pops her cherry, takes her virginity. She can't regain that virginity back, and she has to be with that man for the rest of her life until death do them apart. Another guy, if she pleases to be with another guy, he cannot take her virginity after the first man. And that's why a woman can't have more than one. A woman can't have more than one man. But however, a man can have multiple women, long as they are virgins. You see, so long as they are virgins, a man can have how many wives he wants. Long as when he go into them, long as they bleed, they can become his wife. So if a man decides to screw 6 virgins, say for instance, a man decides to go off and screw 6 virgins. If they virgins, all of those 6 women, it belongs to that man. They are his 6 wives. Okay? So this is what 1 Corinthians 7 and 36 says. But if a man think that he behaved himself uncommonly towards his virgin, so you got you a woman over here, she never been ravished, she never had sex, she's never been, her cherry has never been popped. You got you a woman. In 1 Corinthians 7 and 36, it says, if a man thinks that he behaved himself uncommonly towards his virgin, if she passed the flower of her age, what is that? The flower of her age is a menstrual cycle. When a woman begins to bleed. When a woman reaches the when a woman reaches the age of puberty, around 12 or 13 years old, when she passed the flower of her age, that's when her menstrual come on. Basically, if she passed the flower of her age and needs so and require, let him do what he will with her. He said it not. Let them marry. So that's telling you right there that long as a woman can pass the flower of her age, an Israelite man that's over 20 years or older, he can have sexual relations with that woman, taking her virginity, thus that woman becoming his wife, man. It's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to tell you, back in the Israelite times, back in the ancient world, you had Israelite men that was over the age of 20 years or older. You had Israelite men marrying 12-year-old Israelite girls, 13-year-old Israelite girls. Because marriage took place when the Israelite woman was very young. So after they reached the age of puberty, when they passed the flower of their age, a 20-year-old Israelite man or older, he can have sexual relations with that woman, as long as she was a virgin. Thus that woman becoming his wife. Now, once that woman virginity was taken, it was taken by that man and only that man. So a woman can't have more than one man because she can't have more than one virginity. Okay? Okay, so hope I answered your question right there, Bree. We see DJ Bear ATL is watching. Bree, and much more. Dawn Grantham, Sean Birch, Jessica Matt B. Let's continue on with the lesson. Now, like I said, it was many men in the Bible had multiple wives. Let's go to Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. All right? So for a man to be in a polygamous relationship, for a man to have more than one wife, first and foremost, that woman that man has sexual relations with, she must be a virgin. She must be a virgin. So if a man has sex with 8 virgins, all those 8 virgins is his wife. But she must be a virgin. Once he breaks her virginity, she becomes his wife. Until death do them apart. So let's look at Exodus 21 and 10. Okay? Exodus 21 and 10. We appreciate you guys. This is a wonderful lesson on tonight. Exodus 21 and 10. All right? Exodus 21 and 10. If he take him another wife, so this dealing with a man taking another wife. This is Exodus 21 and 10. All right? If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So basically, if a man decides to have more than one woman, he got to take care of all those. If he decides to have 3 women, if he married those women, meaning having sexual intercourse with those virgins, taking their virginity, he has to provide for all those women. He can't just take care of this particular woman and leave the others over here. He has to provide and protect for all those women. This is Exodus 21 and 10. So if a man, if he take him another wife, he got to provide her with food, raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. He got to take care of all those women. So polygamy is not wrong. A man can have more than one wife. They just teach you this bullshit over here in America. They want you to remain monogamous because they don't want you to return back to polygamous state. Because when you polygamous, everything rolls much better for you. You don't have to have a babysitter when you're polygamous. If you got more than one wife, you don't have to have no goddamn babysitter. You don't have to dish out money to find a babysitter. Your wife can tend to your children while you at work. You see, your wives can watch your children while you at work. You don't have to pay for a babysitter. This is how the babysitting industry was created. This is how they created what you call the daycare centers. What you call a daycare center, when you have to take your children to a daycare center. If a man was polygamous and had multiple wives, he wouldn't have to take his children to a daycare center because his wife can tend to his children. His wives can tend to his children. But no, if you are monogamous, guess what? If you're in a monogamous relationship, if you're in a monogamous marriage, that means the man is at work, and that means the man is at work and the wife is at work. So husband and wife is at work. The husband is working, the wife is working. So who's going to keep the kids? Now you got to find a babysitter. Now you got to find a daycare center. But if you were monogamous, you wouldn't have to worry about that. You know why? Because your secondary wife, your third wife can hold your children down while your first wife and the husband is at work. You see how that works? You see? Bree asked the question. She said, so what are you if you're not a virgin? And you're not with your husband. If you're basically you already been taken. You already been taken. Your virginity has already been taken. She said, so what are you if you're not a virgin? Basically, you're no longer a virgin. Your virginity has already been taken by whosoever. The first man that had intercourse with you, whosoever took your virginity, it's been taken already. So you're no longer what you call a virgin anymore. You just a typical woman now, you know, for lack of a better term. It says, and you're not with your husband. Well, if you're not with your husband, basically you are just a typical woman. You know, depending on divorce, if you got a divorce or not. You know what I'm saying? But continuing on with the lesson, like I said, the Bible never created one man, one woman doctrine. The government did. What is polygamy? Polygamy, let's break down that. Poly, P-O-L-Y. Poly means many. Poly means many, okay? Bree also asks, I am not with my first. He long's gone, so what do I do? You just kind of weigh it out, my sister. Just kind of weigh it out. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you get married, if you get married according to the government, then you married by faith. Because, you know, that's not truly marriage according to the government. But if you get married governmentally wise, basically, let's just hope the Heavenly Father find grace, have mercy in your soul. Because, like I said, getting married governmentally wise is not real marriage. And I'm pretty sure all of us have, mostly all you women have given up your virginity to some man and not with that man today. You see? So, getting governmentally married, you know, let's just hope the Heavenly Father have mercy on our souls, man. But anyways, we asked, how did you get a divorce? How did you get a divorce? Well, basically, you get a divorce from your husband. You see, that's truly divorce. Divorce is when you depart from your husband. Divorce is when you depart from your wife. When you depart from your husband and your wife, that's divorce. But I can't answer all your questions because I gotta finish the rest of the lesson. And then the time I have over left, I'll get back to you. But polygamy, what is polygamy? Poly means many. Gummy means of meat. Okay? So poly means many, gummy means of meat. So polygamy, thus many or much of meat. Much meat or many meat. Much meat. What is it talking about? It's talking about virgins. Polygamy. Many virgins. Many women. Polygamy. Poly. Many or much. Gummy or meat. Okay? And it's not wrong, brothers and sisters. Now, I got to say this before time run out. I got to say this before the time run out. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. Now, I'm going to show you that the only people in the Bible that was told to have one wife was primarily bishops, elders, and deacons, and kings. Okay, so the only people in the Bible that was required to be with one woman was bishops, elders, and kings. All right, and deacons. Once again, the only people in the Bible that was instructed to be with one woman was bishops, elders, deacons, and kings. And I'm going to show you this. So let's go to Deuteronomy 17. Deuteronomy 17. And let's begin with the 14th verse. Deuteronomy 17. And let's begin with the 14th verse. Because you can rest assured that we all are married governmentally. But we're not naturalistic married according to the Bible. We all a bunch of goddamn adulterers and adulteresses in this time today. And that's why you just have to go by faith, man. You see? So, let me show you. I'm going to show you in the Bible that there was certain men that was only instructed to have one wife. Once again, for the last time. There was bishops, there was deacons, there was elders, and there was kings. Deuteronomy 17, chapter 17, verse 14. Deuteronomy 17 and 14. All right? This is what it reads. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God gives you, and shall possess it, talking about the land of Canaan, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Deuteronomy 17:15. Thou shalt in no wise set him a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God. Deuteronomy 17:15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayst not set a stranger over thee, which is not of thy brother. So it's telling you right there. The Most High said, when the nation of Israel go into that land and is getting themselves established, that they can desire to set a king over them. Deuteronomy 17:16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Now watch this. Now this is for kings. Deuteronomy 17 and 17. This is for kings. The kings that was appointed to rule over Israel. It says, neither shall he multiply wives to himself. So if you was a king, you couldn't have more than one wife. The Most High clearly says that in Deuteronomy 17, verse 17. If you choose the king, if an Israelite choose the king to be appointed king over the Israelite nation, that king was not to have more than one wife. But we know it was many kings that was disobedient, and they did that anyway. Many kings were disobedient, and they did that anyway. Even though Deuteronomy 17, verse 17 says, kings should not have multiple wives, they did it. Like David and Solomon. Matter of fact, we'll go into that. Because reason why, Deuteronomy 17:17, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. See, so a king should not have more than one wife. Why? Because in the end, it would end up turning his heart away, just like they did King Solomon. And we're going to give you a precept to that. So let's look at 1 Kings 11 and 4. So we clearly see in Deuteronomy 17, verse 17, kings are not to have multiple wives. What happened as a result of that? 1 Kings 11 and verse 4. Let's look at that. 1 Kings 11 and 4. Let's check it out. Let's see what happened with Solomon. Okay? Let's see what his downfall was. 1 Kings 11 and 4. Let's read 1 Kings 11 verse 1. We see you, Michael Hall. Appreciate you, my brother. Glad to have you. Let's look at 1 Kings 11 and 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women together with the daughter of Pharaoh, the women of the Moabites, which are Chinese, Ammonites, which are Japanese, Edomites, which are white people, Zidonians, and Hittites, which are Africans. So you can see King Solomon was from the tribe of Judah. So King Solomon today would be a so-called black man or a so-called Negro, because King Solomon was from the tribe of Judah, which was the fourth son of Jacob. So the ancient biblical Jews was all dark-skinned. They was black people. Okay, so we know that King Solomon, being a so-called black man, which was a Jew, he married strange wives. Okay, he married strange women. Now, like I said, for an Israelite man who married a woman outside of his nation, that would be considered a concubine. King Solomon married Moabites, which were Chinese women, Ammonites, which were Japanese women, Edomites, which was white women, Zidonians and Hittites, which were African women, and those women became King Solomon's concubine. But how many wives King Solomon had? Let's look at 1 Kings 11 verse 3. And he had 700 wives. So he had 700 Israelite women. Israelite woman, King Solomon had 700 Israelite women, but he had 300 women from other nations, which was known as concubines. So in total, he had 800 women. 1,000 women. I'm sorry, 1,000 women. So we can see in Deuteronomy 17:17, the Most High told the nation of Israel that a king couldn't have more than one wife. But you know, multiple kings did that anyway. And that's why, as a result, they was punished by the Most High God. All right? Now, we see Malcolm Hall. Bree asked the question. She said, elder. So once you become an elder, you get rid of the rest of your wives you had and keep one? No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like that. If you have multiple wives, you can't be an elder. If you have multiple wives already, you can't be a bishop. If you have multiple wives already, you can't be a deacon. You feel me? So if you have multiple wives already, you can't fulfill the office of elder or the office of a bishop or the office of a deacon because you got multiple wives already. But if you're a single Israelite man that's looking to obtain the office of a bishop, or that's trying to get in the office of a deacon, and that's trying to get in the office of an elder, then you should only deal with one wife. If you got multiple wives already, Bree, if you got multiple wives already, it's impossible for you to become an elder, deacon, or a bishop. Okay? So I hope I answered that question. All right? We see Vanessa Valaho is watching. We appreciate you, Vanessa. We're glad to have you on tonight. We're just talking about polygamy versus monogamy. If a man chooses to be polygamous, it's nothing wrong with a man being polygamous. It's nothing wrong with a man having more than one wife. All right? Let's continue on with the lesson. Now, let's go to 1 Timothy, because I stated that if the only people that should have one wife, the only people that should have one wife is deacons, elders, and bishops and kings in the Bible. Kings, deacons, elders, and bishops, they was the only one referred to have to one wife, to be with one wife. If you was not a deacon, if you was not an elder, if you was not a bishop, and if you was not a king, you can have many women you want, long as they are virgins. So let's go to 1 Timothy 3:2. Now we're going to 1 Timothy 3:2 to state my claim on the bishops having one wife. 1 Timothy 3:2. All right? And this is what it says. 1 Timothy 3:2. As soon as I can get the book, chapter, and verse, I will take off. 1 Timothy 3:2. So here we go. It says in 1 Timothy 3:2, it says, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. You see? So a bishop must be blameless and the husband of one wife. Vigilant, sober, and good behavior, given to hospitality, to apt to teach. It also tells you, going down, 1 Timothy 3:12, let the deacons be the husband of one wife. See? So the deacons, first and foremost, 1 Timothy 3:2 said a bishop must have one wife. 1 Timothy 3:12 says that let the deacons be the husband of one wife. So if you was running to obtain the office of a bishop, you had to have one wife. If you was running to obtain the office of a deacon, you had to have one wife. Bishops and deacons could not have multiple wives. Bishops and deacons could not indulge in polygamy. Elders could not indulge in polygamy, and kings as well. But we know certain kings did that regardless. All right. We also want to take a look at Titus 1:6. Titus 1:6. I hope you guys are following me, taking notes. Titus 1:6. Share this video with your family and friends and let them know there's nothing wrong with polygamy. Titus 1:6. Titus 1:6. All right. It says, if any be blameless, the husband of one wife. This is talking about deacons. Okay? This is talking about deacons. In Titus 1 and verse 6. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accursed, or right or unruly. Now, first Titus chapter 1 verse 7. For a bishop must be blameless. See, so that's talking about bishops again. So we can clearly see in the scriptures, the only man that was supposed to have one wife was bishops, elders, deacons, and kings. And like I said, all kings didn't listen to that. And as a result, they was punished. Okay? Michael Hall, Bree, DJ the Bear, ATL, okay? Don Grantham, Bree, Sean Birch, Jessica Matt B. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Vanessa Vallejo, appreciate you all for tuning in to be part of this lesson. Now Bree says, what is a elder anyways? An elder is like a guru, or what you call a yogi. An elder is like, he's sort of like a spiritual advisor, or like a father of the nation of Israel. Okay, that's what an elder is. Like an elder is sort of like a high priest. Okay, but anyways, I'm about to close out with the lesson, guys. But before I close out with the lesson, guys, I want to explain something, because we went over 1 Timothy 3 verse 2. We went over 1 Timothy 3 verse 2. Now, what it says in 1 Timothy 3 verse 2. In 1 Timothy 3 verse 2, it says a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. Now, when you look up one in the Greek, O-N-E, one, when you look that up in the Greek, it takes you to Greek 3391, which is mia, M-I-A. Now, what does mia means? Mia means first. So it really should have said in 1 Timothy 3 and 1 Timothy 3 and 2, a bishop must be blameless, the husband of a first wife. You see? That's what that means. Now, I know a lot of you guys gonna ask questions. You're gonna say, well, I don't agree with polygamous relations. I don't agree with a man having more than one wife, because in the beginning of time, it was just Adam and Eve, right? No, it was not Adam and Eve, just Adam and Eve in the beginning of time. Like I said, the wicked ass government have lied to you. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You want the truth, you got to get with the Hebrew Israelite. Please, can I ask, can somebody comment down in the background? Please. Now, we're going to show you that Adam and Eve was not the only man and woman on the earth. Adam and Eve was a nation of people collectively. So when you're talking about Adam and Eve, the wicked ass government has brainwashed you through religion to get you to believe that Adam and Eve were just one man and one woman. Adam and Eve was not one man and one woman. Adam and Eve was a nation of people, better yet known as the nation of Israel today. Before it was the nation of Israel, it was known as the Adamites, the pre-Adamites that existed in the Garden of Eden. So when you're talking about Adam and Eve, you're not talking about one individual man, one individual woman. You're talking about a nation collectively that was known as the Adamites. And I'm going to show you. So you got to get this out your head thinking that it was just Adam and Eve. No, it was many Adams and it was many Eves in the beginning of time. And I'm going to show you this. Go to Genesis chapter 5. Genesis chapter 5. This is what it says in Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. It says, Genesis 5 and 1. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Now listen up closely to this. Genesis chapter 5, verse 2. Male and female created he them. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam. See, so Adam didn't refer to one particular man. You see, Genesis 5 and 2, it says that male and female created he them, blessed them, and called their name Adam. It's in the King James. He called their name Adam in the day when they were created. So Adam and Eve was not one individual man and one individual woman. He called their name Adam. So Adam and Eve was a nation collectively. What you call Adam and Eve, like I say, what you call Adam and Eve was not two individuals. They want you to believe that bullshit to get you to believe and push this monogamy. That ain't true. Okay? That's not true at all. I know you guys gonna say, well, what about Genesis chapter 2? Genesis chapter 2, verse 23. And Adam said, this is now bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Genesis 2 and 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Now I got news flash for you. Now it says they shall be one flesh. Now you got to look up what one means in the Hebrew. Now when you look up one in the Hebrew, it takes you back to a kad, which means first. So it really supposed to state this. And Genesis 2 verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be the first flesh. Okay? You see? So, like I said, I hope I gave you guys enough of book, chapter, and verses on why man, first and foremost, the Bible never created one man and one woman doctrine. Like I said, and if you want to marry more than one woman, you can, man. If you want to marry more than one woman out here, feel free to do so. It's not wrong. The government have sold you this bullshit, and it's not wrong. Okay? The Bible never condemns polygamy, never will. Okay? And also, just for extra tape, the Most High told King David, let me show you what the Most High tells King David. We about to close out, guys. We about to close out. Let me show you what the Most High tells King David. Let's go to 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 7. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 7. Let's see what God himself told King David. 2 Samuel chapter 12, beginning with the 7th verse. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man, thus said the Lord God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you out of the hand of Saul. 2 Samuel 12, verse 8. And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives. He said, I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives. Plural. And to thy bosom. And I gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would more have given unto thee such and such things. This is your first. This is 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 12, beginning with verse 7. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord God of Israel. This is what the Lord God of Israel said. We see Patricia Williams is watching. We glad to have you, my sister. This is what the Most High said to David. It says in 2 Samuel, the 12th chapter, the 7th verse, it says, and Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. 2 Samuel 12, verse 8. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom. So there's nothing wrong with it. You see? Also, the Messiah, in Matthew, I believe, Matthew the 25th chapter, the Messiah, in a parable, the Messiah described himself as a groom that was soon to meet 10 wives. That's in Matthew chapter 25. The Messiah in a parable explained himself as a groom that was waiting on 10 wives, man. So polygamy is not wrong, guys. Just remember that. And like I said, we appreciate you, Patricia Williams. We appreciate you, Bree. We also enjoyed Vanessa Valaho, Michael Hall. We also DJ the Bear, ATL. Who else? Who else is watching? Don Grantham Stone, Sean Birch, Jessica Matt B, thank you guys. If you guys have any questions right now before I close, don't let them be long questions, just short questions. If you guys have any questions on polygamy, please feel free to keep them in, because polygamy is not wrong. If a man chooses to have more than one wife, it's not wrong according to God. We showed you several book, chapter, and verses in the Bible that polygamy is not wrong. If a man chooses to have more than one wife, it's not condemned by God. It's not a sin. It's not wrong. So who taught you that a man should only remain with one woman? The government taught you that. The government sold you that lie and told you that you ought to be monogamous. You cannot be monogamous if you have 3 or 4 children. That don't make any damn sense. You cannot be in a monogamy relation. Let me tell you something. This is why we always running trying to find a babysitter. We always running trying to find a daycare center to keep our children. You know why? Because we monogamous. If a man was polygamous and had more than one wife, he wouldn't need no damn daycare center to watch his children. You see? And according to certain laws in the Bible, like when your woman go on her menstrual, let's say for instance your wife went on her menstrual cycle. Don't you know when your wife is on her menstrual cycle, you are not to touch her? You're not to have any sexual dealings with her? So this is when your secondary wife came in handy. When your wife is on her menstrual, you can get your rocks on with your secondary wife or your third wife. Don't you know when your wife gave birth to a child, she was unclean for a certain period of days? That means you couldn't have no sexual intercourse with her. So what would you do? You go to your handmaid. This is how this thing works. You see? Bree says we messed up out here though. Yeah, they messed us up bad. The government, all they did is lie to the children of Israel. The same damn government lied to the children of Israel. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the people of this holy Bible. The white man lied to us. The white man told us everybody in the Bible was white people. The white man told us that Jesus Christ, which was a black man, was a white man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and red skin. Everything you've been sold and told in America has been a damn lie. Along with believing that you got to be monogamous. So it's time to wake up, y'all. That's all I'm going to say, man. I hope you guys was edified. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please share the video with family and friends. And now that you know that the Bible does not condemn polygamy, actually it's for polygamy. And who gave you monogamy? The so-called government. Peace and much love.